It ain't e-biking weather today. This is Friday. It's around 9:30 in the morning, quarter to 10. I've got to go and have a blood test. I'm going to walk up there. I'm not going to e-bike it. You can see it's too wet. Try to get an ID on that particular plant there. I don't think it is an avocado, the one behind the lime in the foreground. It's some sort of a rainforest tree, I think. Either that or it's regarded as a pest in Queensland and has quite colourful red flowers, but I don't know if it's that one, fire flowers. Not quite sure. I tried to identify it online by taking a photo and putting it into an online site that's supposed to identify plants, but what they do is just give you a percentage of the probability of what plant it actually is, and this one was marginally higher than another. It was about 30%, and the one below it was about 29%, so it was pretty divided on what plant it actually is. So that ID software for plants isn't exactly 100% yet. But anyway, we had a big soaking last night, big dump, a part of these thunderstorms that have hit the whole east coast of Australia. We haven't copped that much of it compared to down south, but we've got some rain and it's going to take a bit of the edge off the heat. So that's the good news. I'll just go and double check that I've got to get this blood test done today, and once I've done that, I'll hit the road with my big umbrella, my large one, which I very rarely use, and get down to the shops, and it'll take me 20-minute walk there compared to about an 8-minute bike ride. Quite a steady downpour, unusual. We usually get either real torrential rain or nothing, but this is sort of like average sort of downpour of rain. It's got quite a decent soaking when you get. The lawns can certainly do with it. Lots of nature strips are looking a little ratty. I've got a crap load of plants, got about 15-16 new plants I still haven't put into the ground. So I've got to get around to doing that. Not looking forward to it, especially with the heat that we've had recently. I've had 32-degree days where it feels like about 36 degrees and it's getting pretty unpleasant. You just don't want to be doing stuff like that, and I just haven't had the energy to get started on it, but I'm going to have to. The problem with my place is that I have to put my plants into mounds above the ground because it's just digging into the soil is just too difficult. The clay is just unrelenting, but I suppose this will help a bit with all the rain. Should soften it a bit, hopefully. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, I better stop filming. Oh, there's someone hardy with the bike and the dog. Wow. Makes me look like a bit of a wimp with my e-bike thing, but they're not moving too fast, so. But yes, I think I prefer to walk today. But yeah, got a lot of plants there, and I want to basically start getting some screening happening on the back fence so I don't look into the neighbour's backyard. So just got to pull my finger out, but right now just got to have another one of my favourite activities, a blood test at the local GP. So I'll get that out of the way in about 19 minutes, and I'll pick up some grog, and hopefully I'll also get my prescription back, because I put a prescription in for meds and I didn't get the repeat prescription form back. She gave me a receipt for the meds, but she didn't give me the bloody repeat form. But not a big deal if they've still got it, because they're a local chemist, but that's never happened before. Very strange. But expect the unexpected in Kawara, I guess. Anyway, it's quite cool, quite pleasant wind and air wise. Just want to stay dry if possible. We'll see how we go. Point of my journey now down to Cottesloe. It's not as heavy, the rain. You can see quite a bit of mist on the hill ahead of us. I can't remember what the name of that hill is again. Is it Ellis or something? I'm not sure. I did mention it in one of the other videos, but there is a track going up to the top of that, but it's quite a few blocks from the actual peak. Anyway, the bus course went past me when I was walking up. I always cop the bus every time I go for a walk. and the drains are working well. And they work much better over here than in Southeast Asia. So they're big mothers, those drains, and they got them on either side of the road there, so the drainage is quite good here. So the footpaths aren't flooded, which is nice, and hopefully I mightn't have to I mightn't have to use the umbrella going back. We'll see. Yeah, I've been pretty obsessed with this online game called Farthest Frontier City Builder. Starts in sort of medieval times, and it's quite good. It's quite a lot of different stages you go through. There's no major goal as such, apart from getting onto higher tiers and getting more buildings you can build, and you do fight battles with raiders, but it's not really a combat game. That's where Manor Lords is going to really excel, because Manor Lords has a Total War type interface. Total War is a big franchise with different battles throughout the ages, and it's pretty amazing actually. It's pretty good, but Manor Lords is going to allow you to build your own town and build your own military and have your own battles and conquer provinces nearby. So it's going to have everything. It's really the game I think we've all been waiting for to have. So you don't have to fight battles. You can have a pacifist setting probably, and you don't have any of that. And I think the best game developers give the people who play the games as many options as possible. I think that's the way to go, because everybody wants something different out of the games you play. Civilization 6, I always play on domination setting without other goals being used, like scientific or diplomatic or religious victories. I'm not interested in any of those. I just want to do a basic domination scenario. So it's good that you can customize it like that at the beginning of the game, and the same thing applies with these games. They have difficulty levels you can customize, the terrain, and also things like that, whether you want to actually engage in battles. I'm not sure if Farthest Frontier has. I think it does. I'm pretty sure you don't have to have raiders coming in who continually try to sack your city. You can have that off, so you just basically do a fairly benign city builder scenario. Just make sure your people are fed and stay warm and have clothing, basic stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. It'd be very, very good educationally wise for people who are younger, just to learn about what is needed to get the basics. Seeing we're so ignorant of economics these days, in general terms, I think it's really beneficial to have these sorts of games that will explain the interconnection of resources and manufacturing and growing food, all the things that are required for our lifestyle. Because a lot of people take it for granted. They don't realise there are farms that supply supermarkets. They think it just magically appears on the shelf. And that's frightening when you have that level of ignorance. But given public education these days, nothing surprises me. Because their priorities for education is more indoctrination than education as it was in the past. I was lucky to have been in the golden era as far as that's concerned. Although I would love to be studying today with online access and laptops, because I've got bad eyesight. Blackboards were hell for me, they really were. So the technology's become much more user-friendly for me. But I'm not your norm. Most students don't have as bad eyesight as I do. So that's not an issue. But anyway, these city builds, yeah, if you can waste a lot of time playing them, and this one is quite good, but it's going to be blown out of the water by Manor Lords by the looks of things, because I played the Manalord's demo and it's as good as the hype was saying. It's beautiful to look at, and it's going to have a lot of replayability when it hopefully comes out later this year, early next year, or late next year. Yes, I'll be one of the first people to play it for sure. Mind you, I should be out really pedaling my bike, but I'm getting some exercise, so it's a balancing act between doing the right thing and just being a blob in front of a TV, a computer screen, which is always a dilemma these days. I have to go back to the people do the pathology and get this bandage put on, because it looked bloody horrible what happened before, and apparently what I've got to do to get rid of that blood stain, that's my major concern, is a blood stain on the polo top. Apparently you soak it in water, cold water, with a little bit of salt for half a day. It's the best way to leach out the blood, so I'll do that. But the other weird thing that happened just then was I went to the chemist to pick up the prescription, and not only did he give me one prescription, he gave me about 4 or 5 prescriptions I had that he had instructions to hold, and I never gave him instructions to hold my prescriptions at the chemist. But for some reason, it might have been that strange GP that ordered me multiple copies of codeine, which has never happened to me before either. It might have been her that did that, because it's just the weirdest thing. So he scrubbed that instruction from his database, so now it'll be like a normal chemist. He'll get my my repeats back to me, and that might have been what happened to the previous prescriptions. It might have been that they've been holding them. So my dogs are going crazy today. I've got more than enough prescriptions now. Geez, that dog has gone berserk. It's starting to feel a little steamy now, a little bit of sun, and that's the consequence. I don't have to have the umbrella at least, so I suppose that's something. But a rather eventful morning. Got to head to the bus stop and going down to Cairns Central again today, or at least down to the main part of Cairns. So, a bit of an epic bus ride, but thank God they're air conditioned, because it is oppressive heat at the moment and it's going to get worse. I looked at the forecast and we've got 32-degree days coming up, a number of them. So it's really summer weather, and I'm suffering. I had the aircon on in the early morning just when I went to bed, and that made me feel a bit better, because I was getting a bit of a heat rash. And I turned it off after an hour, and the room had cooled down quite considerably, so I felt quite comfortable then. But then I got up about 2 hours later and I had to put the aircon back on, so I haven't had to do that before. So it's either me or the weather, or a combination of both, I don't know. But I'm finding it hard to handle at the moment, and I've been up here for about 6 years or so now, and this is the worst I've encountered, because it's so early on in the year, being October. It's just going to get worse. So pretty rugged weather. I did plant a couple of plants in the morning, really killed me doing it. When I do any more physical labor, looks like someone's waiting at the bus stop. Oh well, usually got it to myself, not today. Well, it's early Tuesday morning, and I've got to get into doing some gardening early, because it just gets so bloody hot here if you leave it for any time. I've just got to move some earth that I actually piled up along here, when I got a huge load of it, and I'm going to transfer it down to the back and plant a couple more plants. And it's the sort of work you want to do when it's nice and cool, or relatively cool, because it's stinking hot this time of the year, and I think it's going to be 33 degrees today. It's going to be horrendously hot, and it's probably about 28 at the moment and reasonably bearable. So what the hell, got the old Brandon t-shirt on for a change, because it's actually it's so warm that my polo tops just keep sticking to my skin. So yeah, it's easy to build up a sweat. So I've just got to dig up this earth, take it, put it in there, transfer it down the back. Got to plant another fern like that down the back, and another plant, and just get through all the plants I've got to plant. I've got had about 15 in total. I've done 2 so far, so I'll just keep doing it on a daily basis and see how we go getting through it all. Ryan, the plumber, around at the moment. It's a stinking hot day. It was about 32 degrees about an hour ago, and it said online it felt like 41 degrees. That's how hot it was. But you can see that the clouds are rolling in, and we're going to have some major thunderstorms. It looks like it's almost about to rain in Cairns on the radar, but the radar's not super accurate. But it certainly looks as though we're in for a bit of a bucketing here fairly soon. Hopefully my toilet will all be operational with a new cistern in the main toilet. So get that all done, and then I can move on to the next thing. But one thing Ryan put in my mind, maybe I can't get pools because I can't, a swimming pool, because I can't stand chlorine. But what I can do is get a spa or a hot tub type thing. He reckons you're better to have it outside rather than inside, but there are units that go into a bathroom as well as externally, and it's going to take a while to get renovations done to my bathroom anyway. And if the weather's going to be like this for a few months, it'd be perfect to have something like a hot tub, a combination hot tub and bath would be great. Costs a few grand, but I think it'd be well worth it. It's el cheapo compared to getting a pool which I couldn't use. So yes, I say it's going to stay dry here for only a few more minutes, and we're going to be in for a bucketing. It's Friday, and I'm off to the beach house again. Finally, the over 50s meetup group finally scheduled a meetup there. It's been a while, probably about a month. They've got another one for next week though, so next Friday. So see how it goes today. I'm actually walking there, and I think it's about 31, 32 degrees, although there's quite a nice breeze right at the moment heading towards the beach. So it may not be so bad. I'll probably get the bus back. I'm getting a lot of palm fronds and stuff around the house, and a lot of branches and stuff. I'm actually seriously considering buying a mulcher. I looked them up on online, the ones at Bunnings, and there's a Ryobi one that gets a pretty good ride up. It's about $420. It's about the same as what I paid for my motor mower, my Victor, and I think I'd get so much use out of it. It might be worth buying. You can buy replacement blades for it because it wears down pretty fast, but apparently it's a pretty good mulcher, and so I think it does about 45 centimetre wide up to that width of foliage, which is pretty thick. I don't think I'd ever be putting something that thick in anyway. So that's something I'm definitely looking at. I never used a normal bath, but if it was like a jacuzzi type arrangement, I might. And he suggested the get ones that are outside, external ones rather than internal. It's a lot cheaper, he reckons. And given the weather at the moment, I'm thinking about logically. For me, it makes a lot of sense because I can't swim in a normal pool because the chlorine just affects me. So really, this is like a poor man's pool at least. I mean, it wouldn't be getting a lot of exercise, but at least it'd be cooled down. And it's perfect weather for it at the moment. So I looked at the prices. There's a lot of ones that they don't look great, but they're relatively cheap. They're a couple of $1,000. They're inflatable, but I'd like to get ones like Scandinavian ones that have got sort of wood panels, that type of thing. But of course you pay through the nose for that. So that's the downside of that. They might cost about, you know, 7, 8, 9 grand or more. So it's getting up there a bit. So yeah, the mulcher looks a lot more doable than those options. Anyway, I must be catching all the kids coming home from school, because it's just after 3 o'clock, about 20 past 3 right now. Whew. I don't mind getting to the beach a little early anyway. It's supposed to start at 4 o'clock, the happy hour. But I'll just be happy to be down there where the breeze is. I mean, Trinity Beach is a nice place. Just see if I can handle the walk. It is warm, but it's not. It's been hotter than this. Yesterday we had thunderstorms at this time of the day, so that would have been even dodgier. So now it's nice here. There's a bit of shade. Well, we'll see. Hopefully I'll make the distance. We'll see. Certainly burns up a few calories. It is a nice place to walk though, and I don't do enough of it. So yeah, definitely good to be out and about in this sort of weather environment. Quite busy at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's a great happy hour at the beach house. It's you know, $5 schooners. That's amazing this day and age with the way inflation is. I mean, of course it'll go up, but at least it's from a low base. I'm still looking forward to getting a cold beer, but looks as though we might be in for a bit of weather going over that direction. Not as dark as the clouds yesterday, but it's that sultry type weather where you would not be surprised if we develop a few thunderstorms. So I'm no meteorologist, but it looks as though we could have some rain coming up. As I said, I'll be getting the bus back anyway, so it doesn't worry me. Good half-hour walk's enough for me today. Whew. The good thing about it is psychologically enjoy your beer more when you've done a bit of exercise, you've earned it. Definitely goes down better, especially the first one. So, but I have been putting on a bit of weight, so I need to do a bit of exercise. I haven't been to this group for over a month now, so it'll be interesting to catch up with them after such a long period of time. The Brian, the New Zealand guy, used to go to a lot of their functions, even though he was catching the bus around, which I was surprised at, because I think he's reasonably well to do. He did own a company in Wellington, I think. Yeah, I think it's Wellington, because I was talking about the earthquake. So yeah, I think pretty sure he had a company in Wellington. So a factory in Wellington. So he must have been doing okay, you would think. So, but he, like I say, he was just getting around around Cairns by bus, which I found surprising. So, which is good to see, you know, good to see. I mean, if I was better off financially, I could still use Uber if I really wanted to. Just figure it's so much cheaper to get a bus. Why would you bother? But sometimes it can be a drag. But not most of the time. It's okay. Look at it. Say, it's just I've only encountered hoons a few times, especially up this way. It's not too bad, and yeah, the bus service is reasonably reliable. Certainly cheap. Oh boy, I can feel that heat now. I wouldn't want to walk more than half an hour. That's definitely do me. I'll be getting onto Trinity Beach Road now, so we're in the last leg. And that would not surprise me at all if it starts raining. It looks ominous to me. Good thing is that the bus stop at Trinity Beach is pretty well established and it's got plenty of cover. Even got toilets there, so it's got good facilities compared to my bus stop, which I've got nothing. Absolutely nothing, no shelter whatsoever. About 10 minutes early, so it's about 10 to 4. I think the weather's going to change. It's looking like it's moving in, which is okay. Won't affect my drinking. Not as much of a breeze as there usually is here, but there is a breeze at least. Whew. Now, I don't feel as bad as I thought I would. Survived the walk okay. But like I said, it takes about 35 minutes from home. And there was a little bit of cloud cover. Not much, but better than nothing. And it doesn't feel super hot. It actually feels cooler than being in the house. Marginally anyway. So it's not packed there at the moment. I imagine people will turn up when happy hour starts. So I'll just take a 5-minute break, a breather, before I head over there and get myself a nice cold schooner. It's actually a bit cheaper here than in Brisbane. The beach house in Brisbane, that bar, I think it's about, they were charging us during happy hour over $6, so similar to what Trinity Beach Sports Club is charging for members. So I think $6.25 is what I end up paying there. But mind you, the beach club in Brisbane's in central Brisbane, right in the CBD, so it's next to Maya, so it's a very central location. So the rents would be pretty horrendous. So it's quite a good deal, I guess. Main thing is there's a good bunch of guys that Steve knows, so it's good for a chat. And this group here is one of the best meet-up groups I've come across. I haven't gone back to other follow-up with meet-up groups in the past up here. This is the first time I did with the travel one, but that wasn't a particularly lively group. So they had one good function where they obviously had people that were on a tour, booked a tour through them and had a dinner, and I went along to that, and that was good. They were a good bunch of people. But yeah, this group's not bad, and so happy to front up again. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.